morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick, and this is Pre-Market Info.
And I'm Joel Elconin. On today's shows, we will dissect last night's earnings reports, Facebook, Amazon, Starbucks, and Coinstar. We will take a peek at today's reports with Merck, Chevron, and Newmont Mining, discuss the XOM ExxonMobil downgrade at UBS, and take a quick look at a few of the Big Ten, Apple, GE, and J&J.
Well, lots of action in Facebook last night. This stock was absolutely crazy off of the report. It got up to over $29. So it comes out with the report, it actually sells off $1. It was at 28, sells off to 27, and then rallies, actually sold all the way off to 26.10 just off the initial report, but then rallies all the way up to, what was the high there, Joel? Do you have from yesterday?
29.02.
29.02, and then they decide, no, the numbers aren't very good. I'll give you the numbers here. 12 cents versus estimates of 12 cents. The revenues beat, 1.81 billion versus 1.15 billion. They didn't really give any guidance, and I think that might be why it's really starting to trade down. They were hoping that Zuckerberg would get on there and give some guidance going forward. He didn't really. This stock is trading at 23.68 now. So somebody got a pretty good sale off there at 29.02, Joel.
Holy mackerel. We are making new lows in the pre-market as we speak, 23.64, 23.63. So you do not have the spike low and then the consolidation to move higher here. What you have is a continual pounding in the pre-market. 1.5 million shares have traded already today. I guess if you're gonna try and play this thing, just keep an eye on what the pre-market low, which is lower and lower as we speak, and use that as a parameter. A lot of shorts will be perhaps looking to take this as an opportunity to take some profits. This is a huge move, and I just have to admit, I just have egg all over my face on this one.
You were pretty bullish there, obviously, when it first came out, and you kept trying to pick bottoms on this one. Did you ever get rid of those? What did you write some puts on it?
No, what I did is going back on the daily when it had all this consolidation at the 28 level.
Okay.
And when it broke out of there, I bought some of the 28 calls. I got them cheap. I missed the ride up to 33.5. And I was hoping for it to get back to but when it came back down under 32 and that premium was just evaporating on me, I dumped them. I made a little bit of money on it, but I'm lucky because I was totally wrong. And just to go back to being a contrarian's contrarian, I do not have a Facebook. I make fun of my daughters and my wife and everyone that's on it all the time.
But you're bullish as stock.
But I figured, I got to be wrong, right? And so I tried to go the other way. I was dead wrong. But there's no way, you can look at this from a standpoint and look to buy it until,
it's
the
got to make
dust
a bottom.
settles.
We haven't
someday.
We haven't seen a bottom yet. They can say, maybe there is value here. Maybe that you can look at the user base if they could ever figure out a better way to monetize it. Maybe there's some value here, but the thing keeps making new lows. We're 23.54 here right now. Maybe this is going to be your capitulatory move and it'll make its new low today. But wait for a reference point. Wait till that new low is in because you usually get a second shot at it, and then it's when it makes that double bottom or something. That's when you might get that second shot when the second time it comes back there. So I always say, don't try to catch a falling knife. Wait till it bottoms, bounces a bit, then might come back down to retest. Then you have a reference point at least. Right now, you're just hoping that it's the bottom. There's just no reference points. So I think if you're sitting here picking the bottom on it, you might get lucky. But that's all it would be is a lucky trade. It wouldn't be a good trade.
Yeah, just for a closing comment on that, I mean, whatever insiders didn't dump on the IPO and whatever restricted stock is going to be coming to the market, there's a lot of cover for whoever's shorting that stock. I think I just read the other day about a lot of some Zynga insiders that dumped their stock at 10, 11, and $12. So the fact that they got the overhang of the restricted stock coming out is not going to help the stock at all. But speaking of wild rides in the pre-market, Amazon. I mean,
after hours, it really had a wild
ride. Are people crazy?
They really are. They really are. The stock came out 1 cent versus 2 cents just a few seconds after the 4 o'clock close. Came out really quick, 4 o'clock and 8 seconds after the 4 o'clock close. Sold the stock all the way down. How low did it get there? I think I've seen like 202 or 203. Where did it get down to?
202.
202. So sold the stock straight down to 202. Hated the report they missed. Beat it all up. Knock 18 bucks off. And then just starts rallying. About 3-4 minutes later, starts rallying up, and now it's trading this morning here at 222.43. So it's actually trading up $2. So wild ride for the Amazon shareholders here as well. I don't know if it's the news algos pushing these things around or what it is here, but they are having wild rides, and even like the Facebook, it rallied at $1.50 and then sells off to $5. We're going to talk about Coinstar, which did a similar move, and now you've got Amazon, same thing again, and we're seeing it all the time. There's these like head fakes where they take the stock down real hard through some levels and then take it the other way.
Yep, and if you look at the bounce off the 202 low, it was 225.85, so that's certainly a level you need to keep an eye on. Right now, it's trading at 222.50, and that was the 2-day high, so I think that would be an excellent level to keep an eye on. Above that, you have the 3-day high at 226.61, and then you got a big top you're going to have to contend with at 229.39. So if you're looking to lighten up on your Amazon, those are some resistance levels to keep an eye on. As far as playing it from the long side and looking for an exit, if it breaks below 220, I don't think you want to be in it on the long side.
That 230 level just jumps out to me here. I can even draw it for you guys on the chart, but that level just looks big there. You can see multiple tops, 230.68 back in May 11th, May 16th. If this thing continues to rally, and now we're at 223.61, so it's not much for a stock there like this to go up another $6. That 230 looks huge. I gotta think you're gonna find some sellers up there, but maybe there's always a shakeout too. So everybody thinks 230, they'll take it up to 232 or 233 and then turn around and dump it. But so you just got to be aware. Sometimes you have to take some heat if you're gonna have the guts to trade these. You can't have a 50-cent stop, and because you're probably gonna get stopped out. You do have to take some heat on stocks like this. Starbucks didn't disappoint me because I've always not been a fan of this issue. I obviously was saying it the other day too. 47.32 is where it's trading at right now, down $5. This stock just, well, I had that run up yesterday. And you know what? And I actually tried to short into the run up, and I was like, I should hold some into the report because I just don't like this issue. But I couldn't hold on. I just didn't have the guts to hold it through the report, and obviously it would have been really good if I could have. And the stock's just breaking down now here, trading 47.38.
Right, and you look at we had talked about that $50 level and really the vacuum in it right down to 48. Well, unfortunately, it did it all in the pre-market. It went well below 48, Dennis. It actually got as low as 45.83.
Wow,
but
that was
since
after hours last night.
Yeah, and since you've hit that 45.83, you just have had kind of a steady climb up, nothing to write home about, but you are finding some very minor resistance here at the 47.50 level. I would keep an eye on that. If it gets above there, you could get a little bit wicked of a rally. Coming back on the downside, minor support comes in at low at 5 in the morning at 46.35, and then you just have to call that low that immediately after the numbers released at 45.83 is major support. As we mentioned a lot of times, the activity that happens in the pre-market are excellent parameters to use during the day session.
They did say they're going to open some stores in India. Interesting. you know, when it's a real cold day in India there, it's really nice to have a hot cup of coffee.
Yeah, they'll be lining up for that triple
They'll be lining up for that hot coffee in India. Actually, Coinstar reported last night, and this one was really wild. This stock spiked down to where's the low? I'll let Joel go find that low. But right off the report, the stock just opened up like a vacuum. I think it got down like 48 or 49 bucks, didn't it?
48.14.
48.14, and then it bounced up, I think, to over $57. So just a crazy move on Coinstar. I couldn't even find it. Now it's come back down. We're back at 51.60. But wow, what volatility on this thing after the earnings report.
Actually, initially after the report, it went to 51.50.
Yeah.
And then on the rebound, hit 57.
Okay.
And then
and
after
then spike down
57
further.
came down, yeah, the 48.14. Since it's hit that 48.14 level, kind of had a steady climb here, finding some minor resistance, very minor resistance here at 52.48. Really consolidating right around this 51.50 level. I would use that as a swing number. Looking at the charts, you just have gaps between 55 and 50. Actually, that's the way it traded. Major support. You have to call it this $50 level if it gets below, if it gets there during the regular session.
A couple of reports here this morning. We're still waiting on Chevron, but Merck has reported, and its numbers were good again. Merck rallying up. This is stock just keeps taking off, trading 44.69 right now. Got as high as 44.97. Keep an eye on this $45 handle. I think that's where you'll find some initial, probably institutional resistance is up here at 45. I think it'll struggle to open over that. But wow, Merck just keeps rallying here in the earnings report too.
Yeah, up a $1.27 on not a lot of shares. This goes back to a similar theme we've discussed before. You get a stock that trades millions and millions of shares a day. You get it up a $1.27 on just a few amount of shares. You have to believe there will be some profit taking in this thing. I would keep an eye on that $45 level. The high was 44.97. I think that one might have a hard time reaching that during the day session.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you've seen the pre-market high. I think is in. I mean, anything happens, but there's liquidity going to be coming on in the books in New York at 9:30, where people are going to be looking at this. If this thing opens up at 44.5 or something, I think they'll be looking pretty juicy to take some profits on a stock like this that typically moves 50 cents a day when it's up $1.50. So big move.
Final note, 44.37 was the old 52-week high.
Yeah.
So if you want to lock in some profits there, I know it's only 30 cents away there.
It could even struggle to get to open up there in the pre-market. I mean, we're still 2 hours away or an hour away from the open, so anything can happen here in the pre-market. It wouldn't surprise me if it even struggled to open over 44 if it starts to peel back. So keep an eye on where it opens. Opens up near in the high 44s, I think it'll struggle to get through 45. If it doesn't open up over 44, that'd be interesting. So other ones due to report is Chevron. We haven't seen Chevron's numbers. If we do see them, we will definitely let you know. Stock hasn't really made any trades. They usually report around 8:30. 108.27 is where it closed. There's no trades here yet. This is another one to keep an eye on. If it really starts to spike, I'll just give you the all-time high there, which is that the all-time high, or is that just the 52-week high? 112.28.
all-time high.
That's the all-time high, 112.28. So obviously 110 is a big hole number too. Keep an eye on that number, but probably before the 112.28.
Yeah, and I mean that the high that it made just a few days ago here at 109.25. That's been a familiar area as it made a high at 108.79 back in May. You also sniffed that area 108.23 in April and tested that area 109 in March as well. Keep an eye on that area. It kind of looks like, looks a little bit toppy here, but there's a lot of air if it breaks above that area. But of course, a lot depends on the numbers.
One more, Newmont Mining. This one is getting killed here. Well, pretty killed. 44.40. It's down $1.60 here, which is a pretty big move for a gold stock. They reported earnings here this morning as well. It's dangerously close to the low that it set there just 3 sessions ago at 44.10, so I'd keep an eye on that. If it goes below there, the low there from back in May was 43.34. I think if it takes it that 44.10, it might see that 43.34 area. So there's a couple numbers for you on the downside to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that day after it hit 43.34, it actually hit 43.23.
Oh,
so
okay,
yeah, we're a buck away from there. I don't know what to say about these gold stocks. It seems like when gold rallies, they go up a little bit, and then when gold goes down, they go down a lot.
They go down a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and We've talked about various chart formations in this. I mean, here you are, this 40. If you're looking to try along, at least try and wait for this 43.23 level, or use that as a stop. Looking at the pre-market, you snuck under 44, 43.96. You got a buck pop off that area, so we'll use those parameters, 44 and 44.80, as parameters to trade Newmont this morning.
What about Apple here yesterday?
Oh yeah.
Apple did not have good relative strength at all. The market was taking off, and Apple I think it actually did end up closing down on the day. It was close if
You
it
know what,
didn't.
Dennis? This is really, I wanted to bring this up. Wednesday's high, 550.80. Thursday's high, 580.40. You take the lows. Wednesday's low, 570. Thursday's low, 576. And the closes were within 11 cents of each other. So for just the 2 days after earnings, this thing has had almost identical ranges. When have you ever saw that in Microsoft?
Yeah,
Or not Microsoft,
and Apple.
Apple. When have you
That
ever
is
seen
crazy
that?
when I'm looking at there. Yeah, you got a channel going here, 570 to 580 really. It's just sticking that 580. I didn't realize in the last couple of days it looks like it's getting huge here and bouncing off the 570, and you're right stuck in the middle right now. So there's your two reference points, 580 on the upside, 570 on the downside. It starts to cut over 580, you start filling that gap. I don't think it's going up there today, but if it did, there's not a lot of reference points between 580 and 600. Now it's not going to go back to 600 just like that, but 580 looks like resistance. You're right.
Yeah, and the support that 570 really coincides with all these lows that you had back in mid-June, 567 and a quarter, 569.55. So I would let Apple ferret it out between 570 and 580.
There's your
And
channel.
Yep, I think you're going to get a nice move off that. Another stock in the Big Ten I just wanted to mention. We kind of rag on it all the time, but GE had a real strong move yesterday, approaching major resistance here at 2082 and 2084. That was a double top from June 29th and July 2nd. So that stock is really showing some good relative strength.
That 1940 area bounced off there so many times, it put in a hard bottom down here, and now it's starting to take off. So yeah, I think those could just be a stopping point. I think this stock's still going to find buyers on pullbacks here. Everybody's looked at this and seen how with such a nice bottom that it's put in. So it wouldn't surprise me if this eventually does start to break out and make new 52-week highs. Obviously 21, if you get above 2084, you know there's going to be some institutions selling at the whole number at 21, and you know the high frequency traders will be selling right in front of them in the 2090s. So from 2084 to 21, it's not going to be that smooth of a ride. You'll probably find sellers above 21, then it would really start going. It is trading down here 6 cents in the pre-market, so I'd probably keep an eye on yesterday's high for today's trade. 2070 was yesterday's high. Maybe you find a little resistance up there.
Okay, and 2047 is a good swing number. If it can hold that, I think it will be poised to go back up to 2070. Well, it looks like the Draghi rally is continuing, and we will see what happens with the GDP numbers coming out.
Just before we close here, too, I just missed ExxonMobil. I want to go back because ExxonMobil got downgraded today at UBS. And the stock is trading down here in the pre-market. So if you're coming in looking, why is Exxon down? UBS downgraded it to neutral. So interesting because it looks like it's breaking out to me on the chart. So you know how I love those plays when the analysts come in and downgrade when I'm looking to buy it. So interesting trend. I'll try to draw the trend here on you. For you right there. You can see there's a nice upward trend. If this thing gets anywhere back down into the 85 handle, I think it's going to find some nice support. Obviously depends on what Chevron's numbers are too, which should be out any time. We got a GDP number coming out, so we do have some information that's going to be coming out here in a few minutes. So there could be some more volatility, but ExxonMobil, I'm still looking at that. If it pulls back significantly, as possible buying opportunity.
Okay, just going back, just to talk about the Draghi rally here. Major resistance stands at the July 6 high of 1364. If that level's taken out, there's a lot of air in this thing up to 1375, which would be the upper end of the trading range that we've been talking about over the last few weeks or so. Coming back on the downside, you have minor support at yesterday's high, 1358.75. And good support at the close, 1354.75.
Well, that's our show for today, folks. We'll be back with you tonight, though. We're doing a new show there. We just started Joel's and Dennis's hits and misses. We'll talk about what we talked about this week, give you a little recap, and talk about what we predicted right and what we predicted wrong. So hopefully you can join us. That'll be out about 4 o'clock. Have a good trading day, and we'll talk to you tonight.